it? Okay, turn it on, please.
Oh, my
Getting
foot's going
serious now.
crazy.
Okay, right. Emma, first up, lovely to meet you.
Thanks, Sean.
Just take us through this. What happened first up?
June long weekend in 2013, I fell off a deck, landed on my head, then my back, and broke my T11 and 12. Spent 6 months in hospital, and from then on, it's been full-on rehab.
Where have you been to get rehab? What have you tried?
What haven't I tried? I've gone Queensland Health Physiotherapy, Neural and Balance Clinic, Feldenkrais, Bowen Therapy, acupuncture, and another private neuro physio gym.
You're here now.
But this isn't rehab.
What's happened here for you?
This is my second week, so I had last week 4 days with Ken, and I stood for 2 minutes. I used to get excited about 9 seconds at hyperextension, but yeah, I had 2 minutes last week. I got pretty high today as well. My feet are stomping. I've got my toes moving in my right foot. Yeah, I let the list go on. There's so much happening constantly. My heart rate, my pulse has gone from 60 to 80 at rest constantly, even when I wake up in the morning, because everything is just so busy. I should be shattered. I'm not.
Take us through from the first moment you walked in here to, as I say, you've obviously got something going on, but if you can, try and describe that process and what was happening to you and what treatment you're getting to achieve what you were just talking about.
Firstly, I didn't walk in here.
Good.
I rolled in. I will walk out one day. So I came in and I was a bit nervous because you can't understand what this is by looking at videos and talking to people. And I'd had really long conversations with able-bodied people, paraplegic people who had gone through all of this, trying to get some sort of understanding of what this was going to do for me. I'd had an assessment with Nikki who had said that they were going to work hard, but I was going to work harder. And I've worked really hard for over 2 years. And I came down here and I had that first couple of hours with Ken. And in our first exercise, Ken's explaining everything to me, and my head's not in the right place to understand what he's trying to tell me. One, he uses big words. I'm trying to get him to dumb it down. But it's also just trying to comprehend it. And then we did the first exercise. My brain injury, there's no memory, but the first exercise, I went into a massive tremor. And it was the most intense, the hardest, I don't think there's words for what happened over those 4 days. The hardest thing I've ever done, because it's not about what Ken is telling me he is doing and what he's telling me my body's doing. It's about me understanding it and me starting to take some ownership of it and some control of it and using those tremors to really get my body to get into walking again.
Just to make it clear, what could you do and what couldn't you do, what couldn't you do and what can you do now before you rolled in here?
Well done. I was an incomplete paraplegic, so I could, because of my upper body strength and lots of overcompensating over the last 2 years, I could get myself up on crutches and I could take a really bad step with my left leg. My right side was completely null and void, trying very hard to catch up, but just no movement at all. So since then, I am able to lift my right leg while sitting. I can lift my left leg and put it forward like a normal step would. I'm using my lower body to stand. I'm not compensating with my upper body. I'm really balancing and anchoring myself with my legs. I've got hamstring action happening. I'm doing a leg curl. It may not be much of a leg curl, but I'm doing a leg curl. I'm doing the adductor. I'm calling that the vomitron because it makes me feel pretty bad. But I'm doing leg exercises that it's amazing.
Sounds like some kind of wonderful to me.
It is some kind of wonderful. I can't, even with the absolute exhaustion with the batteries completely spent. I can't get the stupid grin off my face. And I know that I'm on a high because this is week 2, but let's hope this is week 22. I'm still on that high. I really think that that's going to be possible.
Which of those on the list that you just numbered out then is the most impressive to you? Would it be the hammies or the fact that you can lift that left leg? Which was the one that you went, wow, this is something, this is a breakthrough. And it sort of gives you that belief that going forward this is going to happen, or is it the combination of the all?
That's a really, really tough question to answer. I burst into tears when I was moving my arms and my legs were softening while I was standing, which is around the time I stood for 2 minutes. I had a very emotional moment when my legs started stomping. It's all. Yet there is not one moment. And every day there's different moments. And even going back to where I'm staying, because I'm staying down here, I'll sit there and my toes will just start curling on their own, and that's a moment.
I gather that you've got to invest a lot, and that's one thing that Ken does make very, very clear. This is not just sit back and, okay, you just fix me up. This is a two-way street, isn't it? You and him, and you and the process, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's very definitely a bigger load on me, a much bigger load on me. It's a shame there isn't a simple fix out there, but when your body's broken and it needs to rebuild from the inside, and I don't like any of the words because I'm not rebuilding, I'm going forward, I can't go back. But when my body is striving to do what it's capable of doing, I need to invest in that. I need to be the one who controls that and teaches it that it's okay to do it. It's okay to try and fail a little bit, and it's okay to kick some massive goals.
When you're here, you see others who are in not exactly the same situation, but there seems to be a real fraternity here, and that is a real positive vibe right here in this place, yes?
Yes, definitely. Everyone's got a different story. And the thing that I really like about this place is you come in this door and how you did your accident to Ken and Nikki doesn't matter. How you got here doesn't matter. All that matters is what's wrong with you now and how you can fix it and that you can fix it. That's what matters to them. And sharing that to, you're preaching to the converted when you talk to anybody that's doing the treatment here. And it's really refreshing because everyone does have a different story and we are all improving. We are all getting stronger.
Are you a little bit cranky? It's taking you a bit of a while to come across this. Is it, you don't like looking back, but perhaps and just take us. You did your due diligence by the sound of it in this process. But how did you come across it first time?
An ex-Bronco did it for a week before he rode 3,000k. Nick Kenny, yeah, here's how I got onto it.
So that was recent.
That was very recent. Yeah, it was. I heard about it a while ago, maybe a year ago, and I did a little bit of research, but my headspace just wasn't ready. And I could be angry about not finding this sooner. It's only 2.5 years since my accident. This is pretty soon, and this has validated what I've believed the whole way through, and that is that I'm going to walk. So if it's taken me 2.5 years, who cares? Who cares? I'm here.
How far are you through it? What's the plan from here? You've only been here for what, the second? This is
my second week. So I've done one set of therapy with Ken. I want to do about 21. I look at the guys from South Africa who are doing, blocks of weeks, and I want to be that person. So that's the only thing about having other people around. But I also really like the fact that I'm doing this independently and I'm still having pretty amazing results. So I'll keep doing this, and then when I'm ready, I'll do another block with Ken or Nikki and see how that goes.
You seem like a very strong-minded woman.
A little too strong-minded at times. A little too strong-minded, some might say.
But you also seem at the same time confident enough to walk out those doors one day and then you want to shout to the world what this is. Is that fair to say?
I think I'm already shouting to the world what this is, but Yeah, there'll be massive, massive screams of joy. My son lives in Spain and he will hear me.
How, I know you don't want to put a timeline on it, but it won't be for lack of trying by the sounds of it.
Nope.
You are very,
I'll-
So you are determined to get this right and you want to try and fine tune it. However this process does benefit your body, you want to get it absolutely, you want to absolutely nail it, don't you, by the sounds of it?
Yeah, I don't want to be pigeon-toed anymore. I was pigeon-toed before the accident. That's going. I'm going to walk beautifully. I said to myself after my accident, I'm only going to have 1 year, like the first Christmas in my wheelchair. That's it. I'm not having another Christmas in my wheelchair. I wasn't quite right on that one. I'd like to be walking by the end of next year.
Seems like that's a reasonable ambition.
Yeah. There's a lot of hard work between now and then, and there's a lot of, it's going to be really hard, but it's already been really hard.
You said a word before, your body was broken. There is no miracle cure. There is as much input that's got to be delivered by the person whose body is broken to achieve somewhere to get close to where they want to be in their life, where they were beforehand. Is that? I know you've already said that, but that's a real message. You've already realised that, haven't you? There's no shortcuts in this business.
And I don't want to be where I was before. I want to be better than I was before. I want to be where I'm going to be in a year's time. I want to be walking and I want to be stronger. When I get through this will be the most difficult thing in my life. It leaves breaking my back and going through hospital. This is a tougher ask of me, and it's a more rewarding ask of me. And by the time, I don't think it'll ever be finished, even when I'm walking. And I will be better and stronger than I was.
You know about John McClane? You saw that stuff?
Yes.
From what I understand, it's quite similar. So.
Yes. But I try not to compare because similar is not the same. So it's amazing that he got out of the chair. It's amazing that, again, you could say that it's a shame it took 25 years, but it's better than never being out of the chair. And he's just proof that it can happen.
Is there anything you wanted to say? Anything that I haven't broached? Is there anything, seriously, because you're a lot more over this than what I am. No, I'm just a glancing blow. But from the heart, anything you want to add to what we're talking about, or any observation you've made about it, or is there something perhaps that's only you can? I wouldn't know even to ask the question. You see what I'm saying? Is there anything you have that you wanted to say about this, or perhaps that one of that others know about it? That just to maybe give them a bit of a lift or something.
It's just for me, and you can't really. It's really hard to talk about this for other people. You really need to face that fear and take the risk because, and that's a lesson that we can all take on for anything in our lives. But
fear as in this step?
Yeah, it's very scary. For me, it was really scary to make the commitment to do this because I didn't know where else I could go if this didn't work. And
it's like stepping off a balcony in a way, isn't it?
It's more like stepping off the Niagara Falls.
But perhaps at the bottom of this journey, there's a bit of a bounce.
Oh, there's a beautiful ravine with rushing water that you can go down and look at the animals on the side. Yep.
That's another beautiful. Well done. Beautiful.
Thanks, Sean.
Well said. No, you're good. You're good, Steve. Emma, what's happening now?
I've got a tremor happening in my left leg, which I can, now that I'm in week 2, I can actually move it across to my right leg so that I have my left and right leg moving in time. Now you've got me challenged because I have to go into tremor. It's like with a microphone in my face.
No, we're not here. Oh, there you go. And you're doing that?
Well, yeah. I wouldn't be able to do this voluntarily.
But you said you were able to transfer it,
Yep,
and that was voluntary.
that bit I can control, but that,
You've never done this before.
no, this is new. I've got spasticity. I've had spasticity for the last 2 years. I would have called that spasticity, but I don't anymore. And my spasticity has been more clonus, where my feet flop like a fish. I've cut back. I'm not going to say I've cut my drugs in case the doctor watches. I'm scaling back my drugs, and I am noticing that my feet aren't doing clonus anymore. I'm getting tremors in my feet, and it's a lot more. My right foot's trying to get dorsiflexion, which is the first time it's happened. For my right foot to do that is pretty amazing.
Is energy's going down there? How do you describe what's happening down there? What's happening there? What is happening? What would Ken describe that as?
I don't know what Ken would describe that as, but
anyway.
the idea of a soda stream, it feels kind of like your nerve endings are all surging and trying to communicate and form a path to get something to happen.
So reigniting in some funny way for the first time in a long time?
Yeah, without the just igniting. Because they might be new pathways igniting for the first time. In my case, they probably are because my spinal cord's injured, scarred.
They used to be.
Yeah, but I might be finding new pathways because of the scar on my spinal cord.
Okay, and then that was just a moment then, but earlier today something happened as well. Can you just take us through what happened?
I was on the seated row, which is, you're just sitting there and you're rowing and it's all about the slow technique. And then I started tremoring and I tremored my tremor made me stand up. I launched myself up and had to hold on while my legs stomped while I was standing. And that, I can't believe I can't believe that happened. That hasn't sunk in yet. If it had sunk in, I'd be bawling like a baby.
You do have a look of bemusement on your face.
Hang on, that doesn't happen to me, but it did. It's wow.
It shows there's definitely something pretty radical happening here, but who cares if you can't explain it, but definitely something's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it just shows I'm getting closer and closer to walking. My body's getting more and more prepared.